fact that everything you put on social media, particularly in this case, the case of Nick Rekieta, can and will be used against you. In fact, we know based on the search warrant, we know based on all of the documents we've seen so far, that Nick's social media and the social media of others has been used against him. And in fact, it's pretty good. There's a high level of confidence that they're still monitoring Nick's social media, particularly his YouTube channel. Now, I know that Nick is just back, and we're going to talk about his return to YouTube. But some people might say, oh, well, Andrew, he's been back on Locals. He's been on other people's shows. He's been making comments on Instagram and on Twitter, wherever else. That's all fine and dandy. But when you come to YouTube, when you have this large platform where you had almost 500,000 subscribers, just almost there, right? You've got quite a larger platform than you do in your private Locals community or on Twitter or on any other platform. So Locals is moving from Locals to YouTube is a big deal. There's a big significant difference between what somebody says to their private community behind a paywall and what they say publicly, right? Despite the fact that, yes, I'm aware that Nick's Locals is clipped routinely, that it's posted on the internet, that it's widely disseminated, but what is said on YouTube has materiality because it's to that broader audience. And there's many people that just watched Nick on his YouTube and did not watch at all on his Locals or, Rumble exclusive streams or other platforms, Instagram, etc. Controversial opinion, Andrew. If you give Coke to a 9-year-old, I'll turn my back on you as well. I'm fickle like that. Guess what a bad friend I am. To all nose guards, get on the wall now. Well, I'll say this, and we're going to get into all this. We're going to get into that fact that you're talking about there, which was confirmed by Nick Rekieta. If I was out there giving cocaine to children or whatever, let's say I was, let's create another crime. Let's say I was, human trafficking Ethiopian babies. I would expect the condemnation from people. I would not expect to have people come out and come to my defense and come out there and say, it was all somebody else's fault. It was all the government. It was all LawTube. It was all Eric July, right? I wouldn't be blaming stuff on anybody else, but myself, because I would be responsible for that. And I would, take those consequences on myself. Twitter, which I think is very, very much true. I posted this a very long time ago. And now it seems like, I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And this piece of advice has been the thing that has really sent Nick over the edge. I think this piece of advice, above all other advices, and it's a very basic advice, has really led him to get irrationally angry because it's really the only advice that most of us have given him, which is, hey, how about you just be quiet about the case. When you say you're not going to talk about it, really genuinely don't talk about it, because there's a material difference between saying, I'm not going to talk about it, and then proceeding to talk about it and genuinely not talking about it. You can make a statement once and saying, hey guys, listen, I know you all want me to talk about the case. Not going to talk about it. We move on. We talk about something else. We got a lot of cases going on right now. Karen Reed, he could talk about Sarah Boone. He could talk about whatever he wants to talk about. He could talk about non-law related stuff, right? If he wants to talk about whatever he wants to talk about, he wants to talk about swinging or the Baldo, he can go talk about that if he wants to. That's his right on his channel to do whatever he wants with his channel. But not to talk about the case. That's pretty much the only advice that I think we gave him, other than getting a lawyer, which he has gotten a lawyer. Do blow and neglect your children because the state sucks. Nick Rekieta. Oh, and I'll get one more and then we're going to start here. Scarebro says, pay attention to Nick's subtle way of deflecting without actually refuting. If you thought my kids went hungry, fuck yourself. Or bootlicking baguettes. He tries to manipulate you through shame or shame for agreeing with people like LMS. Yeah, and it's name calling, right? So he's going to call you right? He's going to call you a bootlicker. He's going to call you an ad hominem attack. He's going to make fun of you, right? He might make fun of my limp, or make fun of Sean for being fat or whatever else. But someone being fat doesn't remove a felony charge that he's facing, right? So that's not relevant. An ad hominem attack is not relevant. So to me, I don't even address those or respond to them. They're literally below my level of needing to respond to. I don't acknowledge them, right? And I don't get mad about it, right? Because frankly, look, in his situation, I'm sure he's very mad. And I'm sure he's looking for people to lash out on. But the last people he needs to lash out on, and the least productive, is people on the internet. Particularly people that, frankly, are not going to affect his case directly at all. That's going to be his lawyer, the county, the state prosecutor, CPS. Those people affect his case. Random people on the internet who he's never going to fully win over no matter what he tries to do, right? I don't see why he rages at them. It's an impotent rage because it's unable to accomplish anything, really. So he had a pause here. So this pause, I think, is very important. Right here, this first 30 seconds of this clip, Nick could have just stopped. He didn't need to say anything past this. Everything else he says was not good. It was bad. It was really bad. Everything else he said. He could have said that. Why did he feel the need to say all the rest of the stuff? We're going to find out. We're going to watch the next 4 minutes, which tells you all you need to know about why he said the rest of the stuff. But that statement tells all you need to know. And at that point, he could just move on and do his show. Move on, talk about what he wants to talk about, do his show, ignore the case. He could have done that. But of course, as predicted, as everybody predicted, as we predicted, as every other channel, including non-lawyers predicted, Nick cannot help himself.
Draw conclusions from whatever's going on. And look, there's no way around it. There's nothing to say other than...
And yes, let's all acknowledge it. I'll say it once. I don't like the Joker poster, okay? I think, I mean, if that's supposed to be like some sort of joke or some sort of whatever, or just what it's not a good look right now. I'm just saying. It's not a good look. That's a personal opinion. Personal opinion. In fact, you know what? I'll put up a poll. Pull up a poll in the chat. Feelings on the Joker poster. Continue.
You guys at all. I'm not here to fight your conclusions. I'm not here to fight or justify or prove anything. I don't.
Well, and this is very funny to me because Nick says he's not there to fight, but then you're going to see in the next 4 minutes. And mind you guys, I'm just showing 4 minutes. This goes on for, in fact, this clip is 22 minutes, but I actually watched all 22 minutes and I'm like, really, you don't need to see more than 4 because you see 4 and you see most of what you want to see, what the substance of it is, because it's summed up. Oh, okay. So saying he doesn't care about his public image. So his statement here is he does not care at all about his public image. And he only cares about what? So we're going to see. He says his public image is not what he cares about. So now he's going to tell us what he cares about. So listen very carefully. This is very important. What does he actually care about?
You want me to come out here and like do some weird grandiose apology or prostrate myself in front of you? Let me just help you with my public image right now. You. Right in your goddamn mouth.
And Nick has every right to say what he wants to say to whoever, right? If he wants to tell people to f off, that's fine. I mean, that's certainly his ability. I don't think it helps him.
I'm not here to worry about what you think about me. And that should be obvious to damn near anybody. And if you think it's in my character to come out and grovel before you and say, oh, I'm so sorry I let you down. I didn't let you down. I didn't pick you up. I didn't make you, and I didn't make promises to you. So if you feel let down by me, let yourself down from the stool, Robin Williams. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to own your feelings, and I'm not here to apologize to your feelings and sensibilities either. And if I did, you shouldn't respect me, because anybody who comes out like a little and says, I really am worried about my public image, not my family, not my liberty, not holding government accountable.
Okay, did you count that? Did you guys get that? Did you guys get that? Did you guys get those 3? Do you need me to rewind? I'm going to rewind again. Nick's top 3 priorities. Let's get him down one more time. Rewind a little bit. Let's get his top 3 priorities.
Image, not my family.
Family number 1.
Not my liberty.
Liberty number 2.
Not holding government accountable.
Holding government accountable. Okay. Stop right there. Let's talk about those 3. Family, liberty, holding government accountable. Let's start with family. How did this stream help his family? How did this stream help his family? Tell me how this helped his family. Did it help his family to confirm publicly a document relating to what is a serious accusation about his family. Did that help? Did it help to make comments about a government witness? In this case, did that help his family? Did that put him in a better position? Now, one might argue they're not in a much worse position. You might be able to argue that. I would argue they are in a worse position, but they're certainly not better. I don't see how this at all helped his family, right? So I don't know how any of this is helping his family. And certainly, based on the nature of the charges, I think a lot of people would say helping the family is actually what is at the core of these charges, right? So I think the family argument is number one. I just don't see how. I don't know how this would have helped his family. His liberty, let's get to number two, liberty, because he cares so much about liberty, right? By doing a stream, are you allowing the government more rope to hang you with and take away your liberty? Or are you gaining more liberty? What in this stream, what liberty interest are you fulfilling by doing this and by making these comments? What liberty, how is liberty, are we suddenly having free speech all over the United States because of Nick Rekieta and the fact that he decided to stream and talk about these things? No, and talk about his own case. Did that bring liberty to the world? Is that a shining beacon, a light on the hill that we can all look to? No, I don't see how liberty interests are increased, whether for himself or for anybody else. In fact, if anything, it gave the government more reason, more justification to take away his liberties, to deprive him of his liberties. Because one thing I do agree with Nick on is, yes, the government, if you give them the opportunity, they are going to take away your liberties. Yes, we actually agree on that. But I don't think anything here is increasing of liberty. I don't think it is expounding on liberty, whether individual or as a society. And then the last one, number three, is fighting government. And this is the one that I really want to talk about because, and I'm going to share a little image I made here real quick, just so you guys understand, a little illustrative, because I'm a visual man. I'm a simple man. And Nick and one of his big arguments is fighting the government. My government. In my case, you're saying the government might be telling the truth. You guys are bootlickers. You're liars. You're bootlickers. Hypocrites. Let's cover that real quick. So there is a big difference between a case like Kyle Rittenhouse or the Michigan kidnapping plot. My friend Christina's covered that much in detail, right? Or January 6th. Any of those scenarios. And what's going on with Nick Rekieta. One of the big things that really has not been explained to me, nobody has said it, even Nick, I haven't heard anybody say this, is what is the motive behind the deprivation of Nick Rekieta's rights to further fighting the government? How does allowing Nick Rekieta to possess and use cocaine further some sort of government plot? How is that fighting the government? Right? How is use of cocaine of a narcotic, right? How does that further the fight against the government? I really don't understand what the motive is here, or how, on a broader sense, he's been fighting the government. In fact, since those cases, there really hasn't been much covered about fighting the government in general. And what I actually see is, and this is my visual, is I think that Nick wants to come off. He wants to come off like Kyle Rittenhouse. He wants to be Kyle Rittenhouse. But right now, he's looking a hell of a lot more like Darrell Brooks. And I don't know if any of you guys saw. Now, some of you guys may not have seen that case. That bottom is Darrell Brooks. He's behind a box fort, which was called Fort Grounds. And he is a sovereign citizen. A sovereign citizen is a person that does not acknowledge the government. They don't acknowledge the authority of the government. They think the court is an admiralty court. They don't acknowledge anything. They fight everything. Nick thinks he's Kyle Rittenhouse. He thinks he's fighting Binger, the corrupt prosecutors that are going after him for political purposes. And and there's a difference between somebody who is clearly being politically targeted and somebody who is just saying the government is always wrong, no matter what, I'm right, and I can play by my own rules. every day, every time I hear these arguments, it looks more like this guy. And to me, the other thing that backs this up is just this absolute irrational behavior towards all of these individuals. When